Alright, so welcome to the new tutorial of our lab practicing test and practicing tutorials for the INFS309. Alright, so previously we have configured the DHCP. If you remember, that was our last topic that we were discussing, and we have even termed that to be as one of the most important topics that you need to focus on. So in this lab, or like in this activity, I will also introduce you like with a new topic, and it's also considered one of the important topics, and even that has a lot of details that we can discuss. But the good news is that half of the preparation in this like in this activity, we will have already done them already in the previous tutorial. All right, so this tutorial is about Windows deployment services. If you're following the manual, the user manual that I have provided for you, you will find that it is already like in the upcoming topic. Let me just call this for you, and so Spring coming here, so to the lab, and then we have this. Okay, so this is particularly where we have discussed about DHCP, if you remember. And I'm scrolling down to go to the Windows deployment services. So this is all about DHCP. Let me just take this like a while. Okay, yeah, that's particularly the last statements in here. All right, so this is Windows deployment services. What is the purpose of it? As you can see here, I provided you some theory to go through. So Windows deployment service is actually a service that can be provided in the server so that it can allow other computers to link to it. So it is like a server that it's actually being deployed with like a specific, like a particular image of operating system. Can be like Windows 7, Windows 10, can be even like any kind of even like another version of like ISO image of Windows server. So we prepare this server to be like the main distributor for that image, so that when other clients are connected, let me just draw it for you here. It's just like we are using the same notations here. Let this be a little bit down. So if we can draw that again, so we will have a server. This is our server entity. So this is the server, which will be configured as a domain controller, as we will see here. So Control C, Control V, that will have actually that will be configured as a domain controller first, and domain controller, and with also the DHCP. This is also the like the configurations that we need to go through. Like before we install the Windows deployment services. Okay, so this PC, like this machine will be actually connected to, like again exactly the same arrow. It will be like a repository that provides an ISO image. So what it provides, it will provide. Let me just all right. So type this here. So it provides OS images to. It provides OS images to like. Just copy that. Server. Okay, so insert again here. So it provides ISO image to like any other PC that it's actually connected, or like any other hosts that are actually connected within the same domain, or like has been defined in the scope of the DHCP. So first, like here, the host user. So this host user is actually a virtual machine. It will be an empty virtual machine. Here, they will be having a Windows Server installed 2012. That will be installed here, and then we'll be configuring of course a static IP. In order to configure domain control, we will need to configure static IP. So you remember, like if you notice, we are actually redoing most of the things here. So static IP configuration, the domain control configuration and then the HCP. So this is actually the only difference here, that we are actually adding the the configuration of Windows deployment services. For the host, so for the host user, it will be like a created virtual machine, empty virtual machine, has nothing in it. And then inside the Windows deployment services here, we'll be configuring inside it. It's just something like like a subsection inside it. It will be like adding Windows 7, for example, as an image to be read. All right. So this image, it will be here. It will be inside that WSD. And so this image that I'm talking about, which is the Windows 7 in this scenario, it will be able to be read by the host user. How? Using the DHCP connection, because the both host user and server user, they both will be in the same network. Okay, we'll make sure that both are in the same network, while having the server to be acting as the domain controller. Okay, so without a further ado, let's just move into our installation. So first here, nothing actually to do in here. It is just only an empty machine, empty virtual machine. So most of the work will be on our server. So not most, actually all of the work will be actually from the side of the server. So we will do nothing in here. It's just an empty virtual machine that we are preparing. All right, so let's just come back here. Let me just recall this. Okay, so let's just come back here. The first thing that we will do here, I have prepared actually like a follow-up form that we can use. I need to go to the desktop. Okay, so that's it. So I'll be going to the desktop. So this is actually the one that we will go through. So the first thing here, it is actually implemented. This process is being implemented over 10 steps, as you can see here, or 9 steps actually. So we started by static TCP IP configuration. It is a little bit of details, but actually majority of these details are actually being repeated. So until here, we have already repeated these. All right, so we go to the TCP IP. The first thing, as you were practicing with me, is that we create a file, call it the IP details. We just keep it on, and then keep that file here to store whatever data we need here. All right, so second thing, I'm going to go to terminal, CMD actually, CMD. All right, so this is it. I'll type IP config / all, as you know. So this will reflect me the details of the the IP address. So IP, I will register it as 192.168.134.20.134. Okay, gateway will be exactly the same, 192.168.20.2 in this case. Let me double check this. Yes, it is. All right, so DNS will be also the same as the gateway here. So if I just take that and copy it here, it will be the same. So DHCP will also be the same. Actually, I'm not going to use the DHCP, but it's just an extra information tool for 5.4. All right, so this is it. So I have all my stuff here has been placed. An important thing is to double check that you have the correct network. So don't miss that. So save it and close that. So now we will just keep this running, and then I will go to the icon and then open the network sharing, go to Ethernet, and then from Ethernet go into properties and then open the properties for that TCP/IP4. Just fill in the information here, 8.20.134. That will be automatically generated. 8.20.2, and then exactly the same. All right, so double check that everything is being placed correctly. Here, I don't need the DHCP now, it's just the DNS. So make sure that the DNS is actually being typed correctly, because otherwise we will not be having an internet connectivity. Okay, So seems everything is working fine. So we click OK. Of course, we need to validate before this. So we click OK, and then we click OK again. Let the Windows detect the changes. All right, so this may take a while. And till then, yes, okay, fine. Don't do anything in here, and then simply close it down, and then close this also. We don't need also this. All right, so this is for the first step. So the second step here, I will go to the local server and change the server name. Okay, so here you just go to local server, click on this here, and then go to change and change the server name. So you can just change it to what is Blind Services as VR, or like DC, for example, domain controller. And then this will require, of course, a restart, as you know from the previous tutorial. You can just select any name, by the way. It's not like you don't need to stick to the name that I've given here. All right, leave it to restart. All right, so it's coming back. Yeah, it seems that it's been detected. Still not detected well. Okay, so I will just use the full screen mode then. So enter my password. All right, so this is it. Okay, so now first and second step has been done, and the server is being up. So of course you need to make sure that all the services are being actually alive, has been brought up to be alive. So wait for a second until these has been moved. So I will go here. So we have cleared the first one and the second one. So now we install the Active Directory domain services. So, and of course we need to promote that as domain controller. Actually, in fact, I was thinking even not to repeat this, but like since I mean, like in order to focus and emphasize, I mean, like on the sequence of the configurations, I've decided to repeat this again. But actually, in fact, you don't need to, I mean, like to go through this all again in this tutorial, unless if you don't catch up in the previous tutorial that we have discussed. All right, so let's just give it a little time here. Let me just enforce this to start. Click OK. Again in here, trying to enforce this to start. I mean, like the services to start. All right, like okay, in the middle, let's just okay, fine. So it has already brought up. We will now go and install the domain controller services. So we go here to the add rules, and then we click next, and then to select the installation type. You already know these stuff here, selecting the server and then going to the server rule. So here we want this actually exactly the same one that we have to deal with before. Add its features, so it's Active Domain Directory, ADDS, Active Domain, Active Directory Domain Services. So we click next. Don't do anything in the features here, so we make sure that 4.5 is already been highlighted like this, and then we actually click OK. So next, and then we install here. Leave it with the installation. Okay, almost there. So now the next step is actually to bring this server as to be the domain controller. Also, these steps has also been repeated before. I mean, like they have been practiced before by you. So I think you should be familiar with this. So to promote the server as a domain server, domain controller, so we go through that wizard, and then we of course want to create a new first. All right, so like with this, I don't really recommend you I mean like to work on whatever have been configured in the previous lab, right? So if you can see, if you can notice here in my machine, even I have also deleted that virtual machine and created a new virtual machine. So you are actually advised to do so, so that you can avoid any kind of conflictions. So whatever configurations that has been done in DHCP, try to remove the entire machine, create a new machine, and then install a new Windows server, meaning that you should run from a clean version. All right, so that's why I need to create a new first here. Let's just name that first, whatever name it is. Windows server, for example, domain controller dot local. Of course, local, you know what is it? It's the top domain level, so it has to be dot local. All right, so just wait for a while to prompt us for the password. Yes, we can type our password here. This is actually a new password. You can actually give it any kind of password combination that works fine with the Windows Server rules, but I advise you to use actually the same password that you have used for the login. So just put your password and then make sure that both these items have been checked, the DNS and also the global catalog. Click next, and also click next again here. Click next. Again, these are the folders that you are familiar with, so you just look at them, I mean like verify that they are actually placed on the proper place, and then click next. So these are the configurations summary. We click next to prepare the, I mean like to check the prerequisites actually for the domain controller, as you know. So this may take actually a little while. We just give it a time to verify. All right, so everything has been done and everything should be fine. So we start with the installation, and then it will be prompting you after successful installation to restart, because it will actually allow you to enter the newly created domain controller. I mean like domain name that has been created, which is in my case here uh, Windows Deployment Service, or WDS-DC. This is the name of the domain. The full name of the domain, wds.local. Almost there. So remember that these are actually the prerequisites: static IP configuration, changing the server name, and then installing and configuring the Active Directory domain services. And then after this, we will be also installing the DHCP, ensuring that the DHCP is running within a specific scope. All right, so this is it. So we let it to sign out, and then we close this, and also we close that. It will automatically actually sign out. All right. Which I can actually pause the video here, because this may take a little time. All right, so let me just pause the video here, and then I will come back to you once it's ready. Okay, in order to save more time actually.